books on a budget, books on a budget with Baker.
Hey everyone, and welcome to my book review of the Kevin Leininger. You know him, you love him. Good old Plevin. The Karen Read Murder Trials. Storm of Suspicion, the trial of the decade as examined by court TV expert Kevin Leininger. Full disclosure, you might all have seen my interview with Kevin last Sunday. It didn't go well. He was very antagonistic and he was very personal. To me, doesn't matter. To all of my viewers, I'm still a little hot under the collar the way he said things about you. So I am anti-Kevin. I will say 100%. I think he is a massive grifter who found an audience, and now he's grifting them for whatever little bit of clout and money he can get. He is probably one of the worst people in the entire Karen Read case, because he tries to sell himself as a very smart person. You can see it on the book, The Court TV Expert. Expert in what? But I also said that I would try and give an objective, fair book report. But I wanted to declare my biases before I started because it can influence me, and therefore it could influence what my recommendation about this book is. To just also set the scene, a lot of Kevin's fans have come around and said, I can't discuss books because I'm not smart enough, I'm a foreigner, I never read a book, I never read a book. I don't know if these insults are supposed to mean anything, but it's just the way they act. So I thought I would bring in the last 3 books I have read personally to show that I do read different materials, and I think I have a pretty good apprehension level. First is D-Day by Anthony Beevor, or however you pronounced it. This is not an easy read, I'll have to say that, because it's more one of those, okay, I have half an hour, I'll read about it. It's not a daily driver book. Another one I can very much recommend. This is The American Civil War by John Keegan. Very good book if you want a good overview of the American Civil War. I can highly recommend this book. It's a great book. And yes, I do also have my daily drivers, my traveling books is, right now I'm a big fan of Lee Child. Even though every Reacher book is the same book, I like reading him. So just to show I do read other books, and I do read very different topics. So I think I have the basic skills it's required to be criticizing on a YouTuber's book. So back to Kevin's book, A Storm of Suspicion. My first question to Kevin was, is this fact or fiction? The reason why, if you have a basic understanding of the Karen Read case, you will have a hard time recognizing the Karen Read case while reading Kevin's book. Kevin has a very, very big problem. He didn't have an editor going through his book. At least I don't hope he paid for an editor to proofread his book, because constantly sprinkled all over these 355 pages, you will get multiple basic facts wrong. Facts proven in court to be wrong. I don't know if Kevin doesn't know, if Kevin thought, it'll be fine, or he just chucked everything into ChatGPT, got some kind of script and said, it'll be fine. An editor would have caught that the Chris Albert's daughter driving around picking people up didn't do it on Saturday night. She did it on Friday night. It's an easy fix. but it's also very easy cannon fodder for me to show Plevin doesn't know what's in his book. The Aruba trip at New Year's, he puts that in January. Maybe it's Chinese New Year. I don't know what Kevin is celebrating. But these basic facts, these are simple little stupid mistakes that you should have caught if you send it to an editor. He should also have had a legal consultant, because he misstates the role of the defense, the prosecution, and he goes on because Kevin has this big theory about the DOJ colluding with Karen's team to hurt this case. But he doesn't understand when the state would be, or the federal government would be, required to turn over evidence to the state if they are investigating the state. And he builds his entire, there's a big conspiracy against the DA's office, the MSP, the CPD, but he builds it on facts that are wrong. And this is the problem throughout the book. You who have watched the first trial will know Kevin is wrong on so many levels. And that's why I asked, is this faction or fictional? Because you can't call this book factual, because there's way too many basic mistakes. He said he had only 2 chapters that was kind of fictional, the one about Bill Reed and the one about Karen Reed. I will only concentrate on the Karen Reed chapter, because this shows, again, another big problem with this book. Kevin doesn't care about the truth. Is it ill will? Is it because Kevin doesn't understand? Or is it because Kevin just wanna write a book to show he's a good guy? He is a smart guy. He is the bestest of guys. I don't know. But the entire timeline on January 28th, from Karen Reed and John O'Keefe starts talking about don't feed the kids donuts in the morning, till they meet up at C.F. McCarthy's in the afternoon, early evening, is completely wrong. Again, it's so wrong that he can't even call it fiction, because there are facts to disprove it. He claims Karen was hounding John all day to go out drinking with him. She was at his house. He had left the garage door open so she could back out, because Karen can't figure out how to open a garage door. We know from text messages read in court that Karen was at her home waiting for a guy to come fix her boiler, not a euphemism. We know John O'Keefe was sleeping on the couch because he had a hangover. This is all presented in court. Kevin doesn't mention any of this in his book. He just makes up a timeline where Karen already is at John's house, writes down to the bar, and finally outside of the bar she writes, "Is it okay if I come in?" And he says, "Okay, come." She's angry, she's heated up. Stuff like this is what makes this book. It shouldn't be allowed to be called anything with the Karen Reed. This isn't even a fictional retelling of the Karen Reed story. This is Plevin just making up stuff because he wants to be smart. You can also see that in what is almost as important in this book as the Karen Reed case. Well, that's Kevin's personal story about his illness and how he made his YouTube channel and how he's an amazing guy and how he knows everything and how he's smart and how he's logic and he can deduct everything. He solved the Delphi case before they found out about it in court. Yeah, he claims that Richard Allen, the guy who got convicted, is a psychopath and unalived these 2 girls because his daughter got engaged. Any proof of that? Doesn't matter. Kevin thinks so. Kevin has what seems like a big problem. Kevin wants to be someone. He's a 58-year-old man who finally had a little bit of clout of a true crime case, And now he wanted to think that he is the greatest ever and everyone should salute him. But this book isn't the thing that's going to fix it. There's constantly four shifting stories going on. Karen Reed case, Plevin and his awesomeness, other true crime cases, and then how bad other creators are. It's never put together in a reasonable way. It seems like four writers used ChatGPT and then just Frankenstein all of it together in the end. Chapters will start a story, stop without ending the story, jump to a totally different subject, then jump into a personal Kevin story. I had to sit down, put the book up on my screen, set an egg timer, and force myself to read it. It's almost impossible to read. This is like reading his tweets. It's so disjointed. It's really a bad book. And it's not just because I don't like Kevin. I don't think anyone who would read this with an objective mind would ever claim this book is good. It's almost impossible to read. You have to constantly shift back and think, did I miss a part about where that part about colon ended? No, you didn't. It's just not there. And then he has this weird way of describing people. He has this, every Irish person apparently is some kind of drunk because of the famines, or there's two types of Irish people, the dancing kind and the brooding kind. It's so basically, if you had said that about, let's say, people from Africa, Asia, you would say is this a racist? Because he just have these very stereotypical views of Irish people that when you read it, you think, have you ever met an Irish person? Then you see his last name and think, oh, he seems to be Irish. I don't know. Again, an editor would have helped that. And the way he describes every man in this book is kind of, except Lucky Loughran, is kind of introduced like the lead love interest in one of the dirty novels that ladies like to read. Oh, they are broad, they are strong, they are men. And women are, they're motherly, skinny, athletic. And I think Freud would have had a field day reading this book. And he has this weird, I don't want to, because there's so much going on about that, but I really think if anyone who did more psychology than I did read this book, they would think, oh, Plevin needs to see someone. Because there's this constant way of describing women, way of describing his own cultural heritage of the Irish, the way of talking about men where you think, something I'm not getting here. The only thing that is consistent in this book, if you skip the no facts and no sense, is how envious Kevin is on more successful YouTubers. He was really fond of talking about Turtle Boy. He's really fond about putting the young jerks on blast. And he ascribes motives to them, especially Mike Crawford, where it's nowhere near the truth. And it seems all he backs it up on is Sean of the Gulf, who I don't know how much he talked to him. I never watched Sean because, to be fair, I thought Sean was a little too animated, a little too, he had these big breaking stories no one ever heard about, and then when it didn't come through, he just started screaming. Apparently, him and Kevin have had a great relationship. But it's so clear that Kevin is envious of other people's success. He wants to be Aiden. He wants to be the one people like. If he couldn't be him, he wanted to be Mike because Mike is also a big name. He has to belittle people constantly. And he talks about, and I think that's a reference to LTL, who a year ago got his own studio. Congratulations on being so successful that you could open that. It means you're doing a great job. But then he writes every YouTuber dreams about having a studio. No, it depends on what kind of style you have. Not all of us dreams about having a YouTube studio, because I'm doing fine in my spare bedroom. Emily D. Baker streams from home. I would more like to be able to pay some of my wonderful people on the background. That was what I would dream about. Maybe making enough money that I could move to the States and not have to worry about time zones. That's what I would love to do with if I had enough YouTube success. But for him, it's that, oh, someone had a studio. It's this little petty boy envy that's going through the book over and over and over again. To be honest, this book shouldn't be read. It's not the worst book. I've said that a few times. It's worse than the Austrian Painter's book. It's not the worst book I have ever read, because I've read some really weird stuff. But that was really weird stuff that you knew was really weird stuff. If you go by, is this the authority book on the Karen Read case? Is this the book that you have to have, kind of like my D-Day book by Anthony, so you can, oh, Juno Beats, this happened on Juno Beats. Oh, Brian Higgins is this guy. Is this that book? No, it's not. You will not learn anything, even though in the Amazon blob it says, oh, you'll get all new information. There's no new information in it. The only new information is that Kevin misstates what the old information is. So never, ever spend a dime on this book. I know you can get it for free on Kindle. That's still too much money. If you read it, you will regret it. It is horribly written. It's disjointed. It needs an editor and a legal consultant more than anything. And it needs to cut out 90% of his hatred for other YouTubers, roughly 50% about himself. He could just have done, who is this author and why is he covering this case? I did that in my fictional book I wrote, just to say I wrote a Karen Read book as well. He needs to figure out what day stuff happened. He needs to figure out the timelines. And he needs to stop pretending these are facts. This is a book that shows ego and poor editing can ruin a perfect, interesting case. It has no value as a Karen Read book. It has a very valuable insight into Kevin's mind. If you want to go into that dark place, you can do it with this book. I would say it fails as a journalistic product. It fails as a storytelling product. And most of all, Kevin has no self-reflection. That's where it fails the most, because he puts himself in the center of everything. And it kind of reminds me of that kid in high school that was writing in his journal how much smarter than the quarterback he was, and if all the girls just knew how smart he was, they would date him instead of the quarterback. This has nothing to do with facts. It has nothing to do with Karen Read. It has all to do with Kevin sadly didn't have the success in life he was hoping for. He's trying to get it now by writing a book that he will sell on his appearances on Court TV. I don't know. I can't see any sales numbers. I bet you they're not high. Most of the people who buy this book will be people like me, just to mock him. I feel sorry for Kevin, to be honest. Kevin is probably a good guy deep down. But Kevin doesn't know how to interact with people. That's why he turns into a wrestling heel. I know he made a comeback video to my video where he started screaming at me again and called me stupid and my face looked weird. But that's because Kevin sadly doesn't have the facts on his side. You don't have to insult other people's intelligence if you just have the facts and you can present these facts in a reasonable way.
Books on a budget, books on a budget.